Have you ever felt like you were walking on a tightrope, balancing every move, every word, every breath, just to keep someone happy? If you've ever dealt with a narcissist, you know that this metaphor isn't an exaggeration. It's reality. Narcissists have a way of captivating your life with an intensity that's both intoxicating and terrifying. The scary part? When they're gone for good, the void they leave is almost as overwhelming as their presence. But why? Why does losing a narcissist feel so devastating, even when logic tells you it should feel liberating? Before we dive into the complexities of narcissistic relationships, take a moment to reflect. If you're reading this, you may have been touched by the chaos that comes with being involved with a narcissist. Whether it's a personal experience or simple curiosity that brought you here, this topic resonates because it's so deeply human. Take a second to like, subscribe, and share this article with anyone who might benefit from it. Narcissistic relationships thrive in isolation, and by shining a light on the truth, we can support each other in breaking free from their grip. Let's begin by recalling the first time you met a narcissist. They were charming, weren't they? Their ability to make you feel seen was almost uncanny, as if they could peer into your soul and reflect back exactly what you needed to hear. But it wasn't a coincidence. Narcissists are skilled manipulators who craft an illusion of connection. They mirror your desires, dreams, and insecurities, not because they care, but because they crave the validation you provide. This is the hook that lures you in. It feels so real that you're willing to overlook the warning signs, the subtle inconsistencies, the occasional gaslighting, and the quiet erosion of your self-worth. Over time, the relationship with a narcissist shifts from one of mutual care to one of dependency. They don't just occupy a place in your life. They begin to reshape your world entirely. Gradually, they convince you that your happiness depends on their approval, and you start to forget who you were before they entered your life. Your sense of self begins to erode as their needs take precedence over your own. Their moods dictate your emotional state, and their approval becomes the most important thing in your world. It's an insidious process, and before you realize it, your identity becomes intertwined with theirs. But the real devastation occurs when the narcissist leaves. Losing a narcissist doesn't just mean losing a partner, a friend, or a family member. It's a loss of self. It's as if the very identity you built around them is ripped away. Their absence feels like the loss of a part of yourself that may never return. The reality is, you've been conditioned to rely on them for your sense of worth and validation. And now that they're gone, you're left to rebuild from scratch. In the aftermath, you might feel confused, lost, and unsure of who you are without them. The person you became in their presence no longer exists, and it can feel as if you're left with nothing but a void. It's normal to mourn the relationship, not just because of the person you lost, but also because of the version of yourself that feels lost in the process. Rebuilding your identity is a difficult and painful journey, but it is possible. It requires acknowledging the truth, understanding the manipulation, and slowly rediscovering your true self. Ultimately, healing from a narcissistic relationship is about reclaiming your life, your autonomy, and your self-worth. It's a process of learning to trust yourself again and finding peace within. It may be a long road, but with time and support, you can overcome the devastation and emerge stronger, more self-aware, and ready to embrace healthier relationships. Remember, narcissistic relationships thrive in isolation, but by sharing your experience and seeking support, you can break free from their destructive cycle. Losing a narcissist is a deeply unique and painful experience. The exit of a narcissist from your life isn't like the end of a typical relationship. In fact, they don't really leave, at least not in the way most people would expect. Instead, they linger, not physically but mentally and emotionally. A narcissist's greatest trick is to remain a ghost in your mind, constantly haunting you long after they've gone. The pain isn't just about the physical absence of the person. It's about the emotional void they leave behind. The fragments of your self-esteem, and your sense of self-worth scattered and broken. The grief you experience when you lose a narcissist is real and often overwhelming. It's not just the mourning of the relationship, but the mourning of a lie. You grieve the love, the connection, and the understanding you thought you had, only to realize it was all a facade. It's heartbreaking to face the truth that what you thought was genuine wasn't. However, despite this clarity, you may still find yourself longing for them. This is because the human brain is wired to crave connection, and even toxic connections leave an imprint. It becomes a cruel paradox. You know that you are better off without them, yet your mind and body crave the familiarity of the pain. Anger is another emotion that arises during the healing process. It surges in unpredictable waves, leaving you furious at the narcissist for their lies, manipulation, and audacity. But often, it turns inward, leaving you angry at yourself for not seeing the truth sooner. You might blame yourself for staying too long, or for allowing them to manipulate you. However, it's important to understand that anger is a necessary part of healing. It's messy, uncomfortable, and often complicated, but it's your psyche's way of regaining the power they took from you. In the midst of all this emotional turmoil, it's easy to forget that healing is a journey, not a destination. It takes time to rebuild your sense of self after the destruction caused by a narcissist. You may experience moments of self-doubt and vulnerability, and that's okay. Healing isn't linear, and there will be days when you feel like you've taken 2 steps forward and 1 step back. But with time, the anger and grief will gradually transform into acceptance, and you will reclaim the peace that was once stolen from you. It's crucial to remember that you are not alone in this experience. Many others have gone through the same process of emotional recovery after being involved with a narcissist. There is support and understanding out there, and connecting with others who have gone through similar situations can help you feel less isolated. Sharing your story and hearing others can be a powerful way to begin the process of reclaiming your emotional well-being. Ultimately, losing a narcissist is not about them, it's about you. It's about rediscovering yourself, rebuilding your self-esteem, and reclaiming the power that was taken from you. It's about acknowledging the pain, but also learning how to rise above it. As you move forward, you'll find strength in the lessons learned, and in the person you will become as a result of the healing journey. As you navigate this storm, you might find yourself replaying every moment, every conversation, every red flag you ignored. You'll question your judgment, your worth, your sanity. This is the narcissist's legacy, to make you doubt yourself long after they're gone. But let me tell you something. The fact that you're here reading this means you're stronger than you think. You're seeking answers, clarity, healing. That takes courage. More courage than a narcissist could ever muster. So what's the way forward? How do you rebuild after losing a narcissist? It starts with reclaiming your story. For so long, your narrative has revolved around them, their needs, their wants, their drama. It's time to rewrite that story. Start small. Rediscover the things that bring you joy, the people who lift you up, the dreams you put on hold. Therapy helps. Support groups help. Even simple acts of self-care, like taking a walk, journaling, or meditating, can be transformative. Remember, healing isn't linear. There will be setbacks, moments of doubt, days when the grief feels unbearable. But each step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. And here's the truth, you deserve more. You deserve a love that builds you up, not tears you down. A life that's filled with peace, not chaos. A self-image that's rooted in truth, not someone else's lies. Losing a narcissist might feel like the end of the world, but it's not. It's the beginning of a new chapter. One where you're the author, not a character in someone else's story. Before we wrap this up, I want to thank you for reading this far. Sharing this journey with you has been an honor. If this resonated with you, please share it with someone who might need it. Let's break the silence, the stigma, the cycle. Together, we can turn the scary reality of losing a narcissist into a powerful story of reclaiming our lives. Thank you for being here. Stay strong, stay hopeful, and above all, stay true to yourself.